Alright, what is up guys? JaretCampisi with the beautiful Christina K. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video, everything I hate about my 2018 Audi R8 V10 Plus. Enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to keep this super casual for you guys. It's a little windy down here at the beach, but hopefully you can hear me okay. I've had this car for about a month now, put about 1,000 miles on it. I've been driving it a lot, and I feel like I have a pretty good, feeling of how much things I like about the car, things I don't like about the car. Let me start off first by saying I absolutely do love this car. The things that I don't like in this video are pretty nitpicky things, but it's stuff that I haven't really heard people talk about that much. And if it's a car that people are looking to possibly purchase, it's just stuff that you'd want to keep an eye out for. And we've driven a lot of different cars. Christina has a C8 Corvette, so I have a lot of things to compare this to. But I think what we'll do is we'll start off with the exterior things, then we'll move to the interior of the car, then we'll take it for a ride, talk about the performance stuff. But first off, looks wise on this car, there's really only a few things I don't like. One of the things, this is a 2018 model, I don't like the chrome on the car, the chrome badges, the chrome around this here, the chrome on the front grille. I feel like all of that stuff should have been black. I actually already bought glossy black badges to replace that, and I probably will either replace this or wrap all the chrome whenever I do the wrap on the car. But that's one of the things I don't like about it. Don't you kind of agree with that one, Christina?
Yeah, I like that that's black and that's black, yeah. And then to go to silver like
chrome,
that, it's just...
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah, so that is one of the things I don't like about the car. Another thing, looks-wise, that I don't like are actually the fitment of the front rims. So these are aftermarket they are an upgraded rim. They're forged, partly forged wheels. I believe they're a two-piece forged rim. They are Audi rims, and these are 20-inch rims. They actually look really nice on the car, but the fitment on the front rim, for some reason there's like this big gap here, and I like when the tire like comes all the way down where the rim kind of sits into the tire, and for whatever the reason is, I don't know if these are the stock tires. I did buy this used. There's one previous owner, but I only had 4,000 miles, so I doubt that they would have replaced the tires. So I think these are the stock tires. I know the 245s is what it comes with stock, and then the 305s in the back, but I would say you can see the difference in the fitment. I do love the titanium finish on that, but see how this one here, it fits a lot more flush, and the tire actually comes out over the rim instead of the rim sitting out further than the tire. Again, a small nitpicky thing, but something that, and you walk by the car every day, it's something that you notice. Even the fitment of where the tire sits, I think I would probably go a little bit bigger with the tires in the front, maybe like an inch larger, so that they would fit right against the arches right there. If you look, it's kind of hard to see, but it'll make the car look a lot more aggressive if the tire sat all the way out flush with the wheel arches. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not, but one of the things that I don't like about the exterior. And then coming around to the rear of the car, honestly, there's really not anything I don't like about the rear of the car. Again, it's just the badges, which I already bought to replace these. I don't like. I think that they should just come as stock with black badges at this point. I do believe the new 2020 models, it's an option to get black badges, or if you get the V10 Plus, it does come with black badges. But I feel like at this price point, just let it come with black badges. It looks a lot newer and a lot more fresh. But that's pretty much it. That's the only few gripes I have with the exterior of the car. There are a couple things on the interior of the car. Let's move on to those. And actually, as she's opening the door, it reminds me of my first gripe with this. We mentioned we have the 2020 C8. That one has memory seats. So there's buttons right here on the door. You press 1 for Christina or 2 for me. In this one, you don't get that at all. So every time Christina drives this car, she has to completely change the seating setup, the mirrors, the steering wheel. And actually, that brings me to another one. The steering wheel is movable, it's telescopic and everything like that, but it's done manually. So you literally like pull this down, and then you can move the steering wheel around, and you have to pull this back up. Again, 2020 C8 is, well, it does it with the memory seats, but it also is electronically adjustable. So
another thing I realized, when you come up to the car and it's locked, it only unlocks your side, and it does not unlock my side, which drives me insane. That
is another pretty annoying thing, is every time I walk up to the car, it is keyless. You don't have to get your key out of your pocket to unlock the doors, but when you put your hand under there, it only unlocks my door, it doesn't unlock hers.
But you know what? My seat has it also.
And hers also has that. Yeah, that's messed up. Especially because, you know, with a car at this price point, those are things that I think should just kind of come standard. Another thing when it comes to the interior of this car now is the Audi virtual cockpit. Actually, I'll just turn it on so you can see it. So I do like the virtual cockpit. I think it looks really nice, but it can be a little bit cumbersome to use. So I can use the steering wheel buttons here. So this one controls, you know, different things that you see, whether it's date and time, the XM radio, my phone's connected, or maps. Maps looks pretty outdated at this point. They haven't updated this since I think 2015 when they switched to the digital dashboard. That's not a big deal to me, but it's just kind of, I don't know, don't you think, teens, it's a little bit difficult to use to get the different things and stuff
absolutely.
like that? And I would say, I do think it would be better if they had a separate screen.
Like the C8?
Yeah.
And it's touchscreen.
And a lot of other cars have separate screens where I can have all of my cool driving information here and then have my radio, satellite, all that kind of stuff over here, and even backup cameras. So like, let's see, I'll turn this on.
Oh, it does sound good though.
It sounds amazing. That'll be in things I love about the car. But when I put this in rear view mode, my backup camera is there. It's not the best quality. It's pretty small. And once you start turning the wheel, it'll actually obscure what you're looking at as you're trying to back up. So as you can see right here, like that's my view right now. If I'm turning the wheel at all, either direction, it covers it. So once again, I think it would make sense if it was over here instead of being in here. So that's just, you know, small gripe, but you know, as a passenger, you really can't help do anything. You know, if I'm like, change the radio, it's like she's got to look all the way
over there,
over here to try to see
my neck.
What's. It is good because they have all the controls on the wheel, and then they also do have controls over here for the passenger, which is nice, and that makes sense. So she is able to at least change stuff, but it's hard for her to see like what she's changing. Again, small gripes. Another small gripe would be it has heated seats, which is nice right here, his and hers, but it doesn't have cooled seats. And being in Southern California, it gets pretty freaking hot, and having cooled seats would be really nice. Another thing, again, small gripe, the air conditioning or the heat, whatever you want to call it, the vents, they all aim just straight to your face. And there's really like, you can either put it like over your head or just like straight to your face. Those are basically your two options that you get. And I'm one of those people where I kind of like it hitting me more like in my chest area, which again, the C8, they're lower and smaller, they're like down here. I know we keep comparing it to a C8, and I know this is definitely a step above the C8 performance-wise, but it's little creature comforts that I feel like when a car that comes in at a price point at $60,000, if they can do it, the $200,000 and up brands, McLaren, Audi, Lamborghini, Ferrari, like it's setting a new standard, and that's the kind of stuff that I feel like should trickle down into other cars, you know, especially at this price point. Okay, so a few more things before we get started with the driving experience. I did drive a McLaren 650S a week before I picked this up. In that car, you could actually put that window down and the motor was like in your face, and it was incredible. However, it was a convertible, and because it was a convertible, the motor was actually covered, so that might be way too loud if that opened up in that way. I don't really know, but it would be kind of cool if it did. And then the final thing is just the lack of storage in the car. It does have one little storage bin right there, which is nice for your phone and that kind of stuff. And then these cup holders are kind of, I mean, it's your cup holders, and then you lose your armrest. So it's like, you can put stuff there, but then you don't really have anywhere to put your arm if you do that for either person, which is, you know, kind of a bummer. And then they have this storage back here, which is kind of nice, but also at the same time, like when I put my backpack back there, it just basically flies everywhere because I drive like a maniac. And then just the lack of storage in general. Again, this is a supercar. It's not made to be, you know, a grocery machine or anything like that, but that's your whole storage right there. You can put, you know, maybe 2 backpacks and a duffel bag in there, but putting anything else in there is pretty much not gonna happen. Oh, and how you close it too. So you can't, it like slows itself to close, so just dropping it doesn't close the car. And then to close it, you have to like really push it down, and it feels like you're kind of breaking it, or like you're gonna dent the hood. We haven't yet, but it's just one of those things where, again, the Corvette rear closing thing has a quiet closer. You just push it down like this and then it grabs it and closes it. I feel like, again, at $200,000 price point, maybe include that in the car. So, okay, that's everything I don't like about the exterior and interior. Now, let's start it up take it for a drive, and I'll talk to you guys about everything I don't like about the driving experience. Okay, so driving the car, this is one of the things I don't like. Coming to a stop, when you have it in sport mode, for whatever reason, when it goes between second and first gear, it feels like it kind of goes into neutral, and the car just like, the engine braking slowing you down, right? It's slowing you down, and then when it goes into first gear, it like feels like it just goes into neutral, and the car kind of like goes forward, and I almost rear end people. Oh. Have you experienced it, teens?
I haven't driven it enough to do that.
Yeah, it's really weird, and it does the same thing in the performance mode. So right now I'm in dynamic. There's different driving modes of the car, but if I put it in performance mode, now it's like the highest performance. You have to use paddle shifts or whatever, so it's like, okay, that's amazing. But when you're coming to a stop, and I'll have to wait for a stoplight, and I'm downshifting like myself from third and then to second, it's slowing the car down, and then when I put it into first, for whatever reason, it kind of like feels like it just goes into neutral and drifts too much, like it doesn't have engine braking in first gear, and I'm not really sure what that is about, or if it's just like a feature of the car, but it's something that is weird. And on that topic of slowing down, and actually here you go, so second, first, and then, do you feel that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like
it jolts forward.
Yeah, I have my foot steadily on the brake. I already shifted in the first. It did the engine braking, and then it like just lets it go forward.
Yeah, it does an extra
little. It's really weird, and even with my foot on the brake, it still feels like I can't stop the car from doing that little like 2 to 3 feet of like, oh, sorry, it has to just like run its course. Might be something with the gearbox. I'm not really sure, but it's just something that I've noticed that is a little bit weird, and it really only happens when I'm in performance mode with the manual paddle shifters, or if I'm in dynamic mode with sport shifting. When I'm in regular drive shifting, it won't do it. So like here's sport mode, I'll slow down. Okay, it still actually does it a little bit in that one too. Did you feel it?
A little bit.
It's just not as bad.
Not as bad.
Okay, anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on that. It's a weird thing. If any R8 Audi owners out there have experienced it, let me know in the comment section below. The next thing, when it comes to stopping the car, this does have the ceramic carbon brake option, and I've noticed when we're going really slow.
It's so pumpy.
Or, I know, sorry, because the suspension's so insane, but we'll get to that. I've noticed when we're going slow and I'm slowing down, it almost feels like the brakes are like, what is it? I don't want to say rubbing, because obviously that's what brakes do to stop the car. Let me see if I can get it to reproduce right here. I have to be like turning, and I just washed it, and I feel like when the brakes are lubricated, it doesn't do it as much. But it'll be like boom, boom.
It just sounds like you're braking in the car.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Get it?
I only notice it certain times. It might be the nature of carbon ceramic brakes. I've only driven one other car that had them. That car didn't do it, but it was a rental car. It was a McLaren. It was a little bit older, so who knows? But you know, this car only has 5,000 miles on it, so I don't feel like it's a brake pad wearing issue or anything like that. Just something to note. And then another thing that bothers me about the car is the gas mileage. So once again, I know it's a supercar. You don't buy these supercars to get great gas mileage, but the C8 gets really great gas mileage. And it does. I mean, it doesn't have as much horsepower as this, but
whatever.
Like, so I just filled up the tank. It says 270 miles. So that was, I think, 17-gallon tank. So it's rated at 14 to 22 miles per gallon, 14 city, 22 highway. And one of the things I think would greatly increase the gas mileage of this car is if they made it an 8-speed. So this is a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. And in 7th gear on the highway, cruising at 65, 70 miles an hour, it'll sit at 3,000 RPMs, and that's what's killing the gas mileage. If it had an overdrive gear, an 8th gear, that was just an overdrive gear, it would sit below, like right around 2,000 or below 2,000. It would drastically increase the gas mileage. So I'm not sure why Audi wouldn't just add that in there. I know they have other models of their cars that have like 8, 9, 10-speed transmissions, so I feel like that's something they could do in the car to just increase the gas mileage. Again, this is an Audi R8 V10 Plus. It's a performance model, but you know, little things like that, you know, if other cars have it, why couldn't this have it as well? Okay, so the last couple things I don't like about the car, and these are really nitpicky things, but if you're gonna have drive modes in the car, then they should actually feel like they make a difference.
Okay. Oh my God, Jaret.
It's a freshly paved road.
Oh my God.
Anyway, going between comfort and dynamic and auto and individual, it doesn't feel like it really does that much besides just open up the exhaust and make the steering a little tighter. The suspension never really feels like it gets any more comfortable, especially in comfort mode. And this is a freshly paved road, so you're not gonna notice it as much, but even in comfort mode, it's really stiff. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Like, it's super stiff in comfort mode, which I personally love stiff suspension, so I don't.
Yeah, I'm not 24/7.
It doesn't piss me off, yeah, but when I put it in comfort mode and I just want to be comfortable, and Christina like hates riding it with me in the car because it's constant, like the brakes are so touchy, and then the you know, the acceleration is so crazy.
It's like either I'm forward or I'm backwards.
Right.
I'm forward and I'm backwards.
So it's like, it would be nice to be able to just throw it in comfort mode, and actually here, I'll just do it so you can see.
By the time I'm out of the car, I have a headache.
This is in comfort mode now. It's in regular drive, it's not sport shift, and like I said, it gets quieter. This is, the handling maybe gets a tiny bit more like relaxed, and of course, you know, the throttle is more relaxed, but the suspension's like, it's still just as crazy, and the braking is the same and stuff like that. So I think that's one thing they could have done a little bit better. I know the regular model, I think, has magnetic ride like the Corvette does, and I think that helps the comfort mode be a little bit more soft. But in the performance mode, and again, this is a performance variant of the car, so I can't really complain that much. Another thing I just realized, I leave my turn signal on all the time in this car. With where I have the steering wheel, I have it nice and low, I can still see the dashboard, but they put the turn signal up above the dash, and my steering wheel covers the turn signal, and I can't hear it, it's not loud enough, because I always, either the exhaust or the music, like, I mean, right now I don't have the exhaust open, but if I put it in performance mode, you know, like, yeah, I guess you can still kind of hear it. But if you have music
with it
up,
open, it is very hard to hear.
If you have music up, I drive around a lot with my turn signal on, I noticed that, and that's not good in a car like this, because people will rear end your ass. And that's pretty much it. Oh, the last thing is, when you're pushing this car to its limit, when it comes to turning and stuff, it does have a little bit of understeer, like at its limit, and I'm talking like you're pushing it really hard. If you don't know what understeer is, it just means you're steering the car and it feels like it's not steering, like it's going a little bit wide. The Corvette has it, it's a lot worse than this one does, and I think part of it is because of the all-wheel drive system. It's sending sending power to the tires that have grip, and sometimes it's tires that are on the outside of the car or the inside that are going to pull you wider. So again, it's not a huge deal because I'm not going to be tracking this car. I might take it to the track, but I'm not like chasing lap times or anything like that. But if you are one of those people, just something to note when it comes to this car. So I think we're going to go up, stop at an overlook, and do the sign out up there. I'll give you guys a little bit.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Oh god, it's so dangerous here. No.
It's so good. I'll do a whole different video on the performance of the car.
Cheer.
It's so good.
It's not the place or the time. Oh, you just got a dirty look. She wanted to murder you.
Alright, I'll check in with you guys when we get to the overlook. Alright, so there you go, guys. There's everything I hate about my new Audi R8. It's a 2018 V10 Plus. Again, these are pretty nitpicky things. Overall, I absolutely love the car, and I will do everything I love about my new Audi R8 in the future. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with these things, or if you have an Audi R8, if you've noticed some of these things yourself. Let me know other videos you'd like to see on the channel. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.